Best afternoon, everyone, especially to our professor in the subject, Dr. Ladanan. To all of us who are here, once again, a pleasant afternoon, everyone. I am Eileen C. Cabarro, and my task for this afternoon is to discuss to you the Module 5, which is all about the organizational development techniques. But before that, let's have first our lesson objectives. So our lesson objectives is first to define organization and organizational development. Second, discuss the different organizational development techniques. And last, to appreciate the importance of organizational development. So in this module, we will know all about the organizational development techniques and its application. So let us find out. So what is organization? So when we say organization, it is defined as a setup which brings individuals together from different backgrounds, varied interests, and specialization on a common platform for them to work as a single unit and achieve certain predefined goals is known as organization. So, ito yung mga pag-set up ng pinagsama-samang individual mula sa magkaibang pinagmulan, magkaibang interes, dalubhasa sa isang pangkaraniwang platform. So, para sa kanila upang gumawa bilang isang sulong unit at makamit ang ilang tinutukoy na layunin. Ito ay kilala bilang samahan o organization. Next. What is organizational development? So when we say organizational development, according to French 2008, organizational development is defined as a systematic process for applying behavioral science principles and practices in organizations to increase individual and organizational effectiveness. So meaning, this means that tools and techniques of organizational development can improve an organization, and it also provides managers updated setup of concepts and methods for managing their organization. And the second definition is organizational development is a planned organization-wide continuous process designed to improve communication, problem solving, and learning through the application of behavioral science knowledge. So meaning, therefore, organizational development refers to the various ways and procedures to increase the productivity of organization. So ito yung mga samahan na isang organisasyon na nagtutulungan upang makamit ang productivity o kasaganaan ng isang organisasyon. So let us find out what are the organizational development techniques. So there are major techniques of organizational development, which includes diagnostic activities, team building, survey feedback, education, techno-structural activities, and last, the coaching and counseling. So, let us find out these different major techniques of organizational development. So one of the major techniques of organizational development is a diagnostic activities. So when we see diagnostic activities, an organization development diagnosis analysis the current condition of an organization. So to carry out this diagnosis, managers use questionnaires, opinion or attitude surveys, interviews, and meetings to assess various characteristics of the organization. So the result of this diagnosis may generate profiles of the organization, activities, which can then be used to identify problem areas in need of correction. So, di ba, if inside the classroom setting, we will also have our diagnostic test. So, in an organization also, there's also called a diagnostic activities. And second is the team building. So, when we say team building, it is the activities that are intended to enhance the effectiveness and satisfactions of individuals who work in groups or teams to promote overall group effectiveness. Given the widespread use of teams today, these activities have taken on increase of the importance. So, many companies use team building as one method for changing the working relationships between workers and supervisors from confrontational to cooperative. Diba, as we all know also in our institutions, especially in our school-based activities, we also have our leaders that encourages us to have a team building, di ba? Naganit tayo what we call family day for us to have to deal with our co-teachers as well as our leaders, our school administrators, our principals, and our supervisors. And also of the major techniques is survey feedback. So when we say survey feedback, in survey feedback, each employee respond to a questionnaire intended to measure perceptions and attitudes. So for example, satisfaction and supervisory style. Everyone involved, including the supervisor, to receive the results of the survey. So this survey feedback is very effective and one of also common use in organizational techniques. So the aim of this approach is usually to change the behavior of supervisor by showing them how the subordinates view them. Diba, in college, in a college or in a tertiary level in education, diba, ang teacher or instructors have also a survey feedback for their learners. So ang mga learners dito mag-carry out, mag-point out sila, mag-rate sa ilang instructors or professors on what are their views about their supervisor. So by that, the organization or the institution will be informed on how the said teachers perform inside the classroom. And next is the education. So education also is one of the organizational development techniques because although such activities can be used for technical skill replace purposes, an organizational development education activity typically focus on sensitivity skills, that is, it teaches people to be more considerate and understanding of the people they work with. So educational activities focus on classroom training. So participants often through a series of role-playing exercises to learn better how others, the organization, feel. Next, one techniques is techno-structural activities. So when we say techno-structural activities, it is a structural change that can increase in the centralization, job design, change such as increase in the use of automation, and a technological change involving a modification in workflow. So it is concerned with the interrelationship of design and technology of the organization. Next, one also of the organizational development techniques is the coaching and counseling. So the purpose is to help people develop a better sense of how others see them and learn behaviors that will assist others in achieving their work and related goals. So coaching and counseling provides non-evaluative feedback to individuals. Diba, especially in this new normal settings of education, we also have coaching and counseling, diba? There are different seminars, of course, that is offered, like sessions provided in our leaders that will help us to develop the better sense of how others see them and learn from it. So through coaching and counseling, the focus of this is not only how the individual is performing today, but instead it is on how the person can perform better in the future. And these are the organizational development techniques. And now, when is the organization ready for development? So, kanus na to maingon if the organization is ready na talaga siya for development. So, first step is to dissatisfied with the current scenario. So, they are dissatisfied with the current scenario. Meaning, is the employees are not happy with the current scenario and feel the need for change in the process of the organization. So, meaning to say, kung wa na malipay ang mga kaiban, so, diha na mo agi ang mga organizational development. Diha na change in the process of the organization. Second step, we have suggesting changes. When we say suggesting changes, in this, employees discuss among themselves the various options which would help the organization to do better in the near future. So, mag-suggest og mga changes on how the organization will being developed. Next, the third step, the last step is the applying the process. So, after dissatisfy the current scenario, suggesting changes, then applying the process. So, the various policies and procedures are applied to help the organization respond to external as well as internal changes more effectively. So, let us also discuss the importance of organizational development. So, the purpose of OD is to address the perennial involving needs of successful organization. Diba? It is not only what we call this is very helpful techniques because it really address the perennial involving needs of successful organization. And the importance of OD is to improve the organization's capacity to handle its internal and external functioning and relationship. So this includes improve interpersonal and group process, more effective communication, enhanced ability to cope with organization problems of all kinds, more effective decision process, more appropriate leadership style, improved skill in dealing with destructive conflict, and higher levels trust and cooperation among organizational members. So that's why, therefore, organizational development is also one of the important techniques that is need to be know and consider and apply also in an organization. So I have here the 6-box model that is diagnosis from the idea of Marvin Weisbord. So Marvin Weisbord is identifies 6 critical areas where the things must go right if organization is to be successful. So kung gusto niyo ma-successful ang organization, this is one of the model that is need to be applied. So according to him, the consultant must attend to both formal and informal aspect of each back. See, this model is still widely used by the OD practitioners. So this is really the organizational development practitioners use this model. So one is the purposes. So when we say purposes, are the employees are clear about the organization mission, purpose, and goal. So of course, there is need to have the purposes. So they do support the organization purposes. So that is the questions of how we develop our organizations by having purposes. Second, we have structure. So when we say structure, how is the organization work divided? So is there an adequate fit between the purpose and the internal structure? So this structure is also one of the important um, areas that is need to be considered. And the relationship, of course. So what are the relationship between the individuals, units, or departments that perform different tasks, and between the people and requirements of their jobs? So are the relationship are good? Are they have a harmonious relationship in such organization? So that is also one of the area that is need to be considered. Next, we have rewards. So in organization, there's always also what we call rewards, incentives for the members or for the everyone for the benefit of the organization. So the question is for what actions does the organizations formally reward or punish member? So what are your actions as a future administrator? Is your administrator having your rewards? They, even though by having recognizes your work, your hard works, they have they done that one? So for us, as also as a future administrator, since we are engaging or having upgrading our educational or professional growth and development, this is also one areas that is need to be considered. And the next is the leadership. So leadership, so it is very important also, or important areas that is need to be considered, how you lead the organization. So leadership, so does leadership watch for blips among the areas and maintain balance among them? So is there a good leader? So a good leader is also a good follower. 'Di ba? A good follower is a good leader. So if you were become a leader, did you lead effectively for your organizations to have a successful, improving, productive organizations? That is also need to be considered. Next, the helpful mechanism. So when we say helpful mechanism, though planning, controlling, budgeting, and other information system help organization members accomplish their goals. So, so in a certain organization, there should be an helpful mechanism also of each and every one members as well as the leaders on how or on which it is one also of the areas that is need to be considered to have a successful and effective as well as productive organization. So that should be all in my report. But before that, allow me to speak for these quotations by A.S. Odin, that if you want to grow an organization, then enable its employees to experiment, explore, and express their creativity without limiting them to title, department, and designation. So that could be all. Thank you, and God bless us all.